Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission, it's pretty simple, really. We take source material you might have.
Yeah, find the absolute gold in it.
And bring you the key insights, fast, tailored just for you.
Right. We cut through all the noise, give you the signal. It's kind of like a shortcut to knowing what matters from the source.
Exactly. And today, we're doing a deep dive focused on a specific piece of tech.
The Robosen K1 Interstellar Scout robot.
That's the one. And our source material for this dive.
It's interesting. It's just one source, but it's a very detailed one-star customer review.
Okay, so one person's experience, but detail.
Yeah, it gives us a really specific window into what using this thing was actually like.
So our goal here isn't just to, read the review, it's to unpack it.
Right. Understand what it tells us about the robot's journey, like from the cool idea to the actual product someone gets.
And what lessons might be in there for you when you're evaluating complex tech. What worked, what really didn't.
Let's just jump right in then. Where did the reviewer start?
Okay, so initial impressions. The reviewer actually called the concept itself exciting.
Well, yeah, an Interstellar Scout robot. Sounds pretty cool on paper.
For sure. And they did say, while it worked, it was genuinely fun.
Ah, the while it worked qualifier?
Yeah.
But yeah, sounds like there was an initial wow.
Definitely. They mentioned the movement specifically.
Praised the variety of humanoid movements, called them impressive to watch. So it looked good, moved well at first glance.
Delivered on that futuristic promise initially. And there was more to it than just being a toy, right?
Yeah, this is interesting. The review pointed out the intuitive programming function.
And saw potential there.
Saw it as a fantastic learning tool, actually, for younger users, maybe, to get into coding and robotics.
Okay, so a real educational angle there, too.
So you see the promise,
Okay.
Cool idea, fun movement, even educational potential. Seems like the design goals were clear.
It may be met briefly.
Yeah.
But, well, here's the turn.
Right. That genuine fun, according to the review, was, quote, incredibly short-lived.
How short-lived are we talking?
Get this. They report hitting major problems after only about 40 minutes of normal use.
40? Wow. That's really fast for things to go south.
It really is. And this kicks off the critical flaws part of the story.
Dominated by power issues, I gather.
Big time. Severe power problems. The reviewer says the robot just wouldn't operate anymore unless it was plugged in.
Plugged in. A mobile scout robot.
Exactly. And even then, it would often just shut down soon after starting an action.
Okay, that pretty much guts the whole concept, right?
Completely. The review calls the non-functional battery a critical failure that renders its core purpose moot. Strong words.
Can't argue with that, though.
Yeah.
It can't move on its own power.
Then all the fancy features don't mean much. It really makes you wonder, was it just a bad battery or something deeper with how it manages power?
And it wasn't just the power, was it? There was another issue.
Right, another significant functional limitation. Getting stuck.
Stuck.
Well, apparently outside of its special auto-standing mode, if it did certain actions like play dead or a front flip, it just couldn't get back up. It would stay there, stuck.
So you'd have to physically pick it up and reset it.
Exactly. Which isn't just annoying, it kind of suggests it doesn't really know its own position or how to recover, which is pretty fundamental for autonomy.
Okay, so stepping back from just this one review.
Yeah.
What's the bigger picture here? What does this tell us?
Well, I think it's a fascinating snapshot, even from just one user, of that gap between a really exciting concept and the gritty reality of making consumer robotics work reliably.
All the initial wow of the cool movements and the programming.
It's totally overshadowed by these really basic critical failures. Power. Just being able to stand up. Fundamental stuff.
It's like a shortcut past the slick marketing straight to the user's actual pain points.
And the reviewer's conclusion was pretty stark. Despite the cool idea, the battery disaster and getting stuck
meant poor build quality and a regrettable purchase, especially for the price.
Yeah, and they added this little note of concern, saying they'd heard other customers having reported similar issues with different Robosen products.
Ooh, okay, so if that's true, it might not be just a one-off faulty unit.
Could point to broader challenges, maybe, in delivering that core reliability across their products. We don't know for sure from one review, but it raises the question.
Which leads us perfectly to our final thought for you, the listener, to chew on from this deep dive.
When you encounter something new, maybe technology, maybe something else, that has this really exciting potential, this wow factor.
But you also hear reports of really fundamental flaws, basic functional problems.
how do you actually weigh those two things? How much is that initial excitement and the intended purpose worth against the, the messy details of how it actually performs?
Yeah, like what specific failures tell you that maybe that potential just isn't going to be realized in practice?
Something to think about next time you see that flashy new gadget.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.